In this presentation, we will discuss our project outline related to the bank feeds and set up a new company file for them. Here we go with Xero. Here we are in our demo company dashboard. What we're going to do first is add a new company file that we're just going to be using for the bank feed practice. So we're going to select the drop down up top, and I have one file up here for the Get Great Guitars. I want to add another one. So we're going to say, and if you don't have one up there, that's fine. Just add a new company file. You get to add a few different files, which I really like. I love it within Xero. You can have company files that you can practice with in here. And so we're going to add a new one. And we're going to say that the company name, I'm just going to say GGG for Get Great Guitars. And I'm going to say that the time zone will be, so I'm in the Pacific time. So I'm going to say Pacific, US and Canada. What does your organization do? I'm just going to say online retailing for our practice problem, and then QuickBooks Online is going to be the prior software I'm just going to populate for the purposes of our practice file, so we can get this set up and get this going. And then I'm going to go ahead and say start the trial. So I'm going to set this thing up, start the trial, and there we have it. Now, we had set up in the past, I had set up this Get Great Guitars where we did a full cycle, basically bookkeeping system for January and February. In other words, if I go into our flowchart, this is QuickBooks Desktop, just to consider the flowchart. We did the full basically accounting system, accrual accounting system for each of these cycles, entering bills and then entering payments, entering invoices and receipt payments and sales receipts, and then the deposits here. So now what we're going to do is take the information that we used in terms of the reconciliation of the bank account, which would be this information. So we entered January and February in that practice file. What I'm going to do now is just take the same information from January bank statement, and I'm going to put that into March. So now I'm going to have March, which will have basically the same activity for the month of March, which will be down here. So we're going to have, in essence, the same activity happening as we had in January. And then I want to take this information and just upload it to the system in more of a bank feed, and then think about how we can set this up. What if we set this up then for the first month of operations? We'll set it up as if we're not doing a full service cycle here. We're just going to wait till it hits the bank, and then we're going to record the transactions simply from the bank seats, meaning we're going to be completely dependent on the bank. Now, in our case, that's going to cause us a couple problems. Because when we entered this before, we entered the invoices, and we entered bills before, and we tracked inventory, which are all kind of issues to be on a complete cash basis system. So as we do that, we'll discuss kind of some workarounds or how we're going to deal with that on those types of issues. If you don't have those types of issues, like if you're getting all of your deposits, for example, from things like Amazon affiliate marketing or something like that, and they're just electronic payments, then you may not have those issues. If you do have those issues, then we'll discuss a few of them as we go through there. And then you can also compare and contrast a bit. If you look at the prior example problems, you can compare and contrast a bit from a full service accrual cycle to a cash basis cycle as well. Then in the second month of operations, we'll do a similar type of process. We'll go and take February, which we entered on an accrual basis in our prior example problem. We'll just take this bank statement. We'll feed it into April, which is basically the same data. So we'll act like we have the same data happening in April in terms of the bank transactions. And we'll feed that in for the second month of operations so we can see the bank feeds and how they would play in as of the second month. When we do the first month of operations, it's the first time we're going to be assigning things out, so it might take a little bit more time. In the second month of operations, it might be a little bit easier because the bank feeds might be able to pick up a little bit more information as we enter the second half. We'll also talk about some workarounds with regards to the second half of things, with regards to those deviations from a cash basis, things like inventory, things like the invoices. How could we possibly match up then if we want to use the invoices? How could we match up the invoice compared to deposits, or how can we work invoicing and tracking accounts receivable into the system? How might we be able to think about things like inventory if we have to track inventory within our bank feeding process? So we'll discuss a little bit more of how we can put in some typical type of accrual kind of things that many businesses will need while still implementing the bank feeds into our system as we go to the second month of operations. Then after that, we might go into some more detailed type of transactions, enter just some more bank feeds into the system that we can practice things like possibly bank rules and practice some more advanced kind of matching things out and common problems that could happen with regard to the bank feeds. So that's it for now. Let's get out of here.